Hey guys, what's up, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Real Talk Recovery, where we talk about recovery from addiction, and I share my life with you. Um, so I have just really been inspired to come on here and talk about this because I think it's really, really important. Um, I want to talk about how to handle, deal, cope, go through a situation where if you have a loved one, hey D Ray, hey Crystal, hey Byron, that is still in active addiction that's living with you. Oh, come on, bud. Good boy. Okay. Hey Cindy. Hey BFF. So, all right. How do I want to talk about this? Okay. First and foremost, if you have children in your house and you have a loved one that's in active addiction, your number one priority has to be your children. Okay. Hey Melissa. Girl, I messaged you in the Hangouts. You need to, in the Patreon, you need to download the Patreon app to your phone so that way you can get my messages. Hey, Brandon, what's up? So, okay. So, if you have, I'm going to kind of not look at the comments because I really want to stay on task about what I'm talking about, okay? So, active addiction is hell, okay? And don't get this as me, hey Philip, hey lab girl. Don't take this as me not having empathy or understanding what it's like to live with an active addict, because baby, I know what it was like. I have lived with many active addicts, and there's been times where I've been sober and I've been living with people that were in active addiction. And but so if you're in recovery and you have someone that's in your house that's in active addiction, and you have children, your number one priority has to be to protect your children. And um, it's so hard, you guys, because I know that you love the person that's in active addiction, right? I know that, but by allowing that person who is in active addiction to stay in that house with you and your children, you are in turn putting your children in harm's way. So, if you are someone who is living with someone that is in active addiction and you have children, you either need to leave or they need to leave. Because if they don't, what's going to happen is Child Protective Services will get involved. Eventually, somehow, some way, something will happen and Child Protective Services will be at your door. that could be that could be the best thing you can do, is to have Child Protective Services come to your door. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Angel, you're okay, girl. Because maybe if they come, they can take the addicted person out of the household and make them get treatment. You know what I'm saying? Send them to rehab. The reason I'm sharing this with you guys is because the reason my son was taken from me was because both me and my husband were in active addiction. All right. So our child got taken from us and put into foster care. Now, for me, that was the best thing that could have ever happened because it forced me to go and get help. But for some families, that's just not the case. For some families, the mom or the dad won't go and get help. And then those children are stuck in foster care. So, if you are sober and you have a loved one who's getting high in your house, kick them out. Leave, get away from them. Because if you have children, the only thing it's going to do is put your kids in harm's way. Okay? And the reason I'm saying this, you guys, is because I'm starting to find new people on YouTube, and it breaks my heart to know that there's kids out there who are watching their moms and dads in active addiction and being high and nodding off. Now, listen, my son was not even 1 year old when I was in my active addiction. That doesn't make any excuse. I'm not making excuses for myself, okay? But my kid doesn't remember any of that. He's in no way, he doesn't even remember being in foster care. Thank God. Thank you, Jesus. But for these older kids that are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 8, 16, 17 years old, they watch and they see single thing that happens. And so these babies they're the blameless children, you know, they're the children that are in the crossfire of the addiction, um, and those kids shouldn't have to see their parents looking like that. So if you are in a relationship with someone who's actively getting high, please get away from that person and protect you and your babies. Protect your children, because you're their caretaker. You are the person that's supposed to be there to guide them and protect them. And your children should never have to see that happening. And I know that in a perfect world, no kids would ever see their parents being in active addiction. I understand that, right? But if you're of sound and sane and sober mind, and you have a family member who's inside your house getting fucked up while your kids are there and your kids are crying, and they're seeing their parent being messed up, right? Get away from them. Okay? Get away from them. Protect your babies. And like, it just makes me so sad because, man, I'm just so grateful and thankful, you guys, that my son was very, very young when all the stuff that happened with me happened, because I wouldn't even know. I already have so much guilt, so much shame. I can't even imagine what it would be like if Nathaniel could have remembered me in active addiction. I don't know how I would handle that. And I see kids who, I was watching a video on Facebook from a long time ago, and there was this family. I'm sure you guys have seen the video, but the girl is knotted out, and her husband and her are both knotted out at the steering wheel, and one of them is in the passenger side, right? And they're completely knotted out, and their toddler is in the back seat crying. Can you imagine your parents just passing out and you not knowing why, thinking they're dead? You know what I mean? Can you imagine being totally helpless and not being able to take care of yourself, not being able to feed yourself, not being able to change yourself, anything, and having to rely on a mother or a father who is high on heroin? So it's really important to set that strong boundary with a family member who's in active addiction. And if they're going to continue to live their life in active addiction, you've got to get them out of your house. They can't stay with you. Okay? And maybe if them getting put out on the street and being homeless, maybe that will be the wake-up call that they need to change their life. I got pulled over for driving crazy with my kids in the car, half asleep. Crystal, I totally understand. Now, I didn't have Nate in the car. This was before he was born, but I drove my car into a brick wall with Neil in the passenger seat going into a seizure. So, girl, I understand. What's up? Nothing but love for real talk. Hey, Charles. I sent you my cell phone number on a comment. Told you to text me if you wanted to come on the channel. So I just want you guys to be careful, okay? And like I said, if you have someone in your house who is still getting fucked up and you can get them out of that house, you get them out of the house, okay? Especially if you're sober and you're like paying the bills and you're working the job and you're head of the household. If your fucking wife or your girlfriend is getting loaded, get her out of there, especially if you have children, because she is going to end up being your demise. All right? And here's another thing. What happens when we have someone who is in active addiction, say we sobered up and our partner is in active addiction, there's a lot of codependency intertwined. And a lot of the times that guilt of us having to kick them out, it makes us feel so bad. But it's like, listen, you guys, don't let your heart being so big and you wanting to help other people gets you pulled down. You know, having an active drug addict living in your house while you're trying to stay sober is the stupidest thing you could ever do. And you will end up either losing everything you have or getting high, you know? So you've got to protect yourself. Um, and I'm telling you guys, like, if I hadn't gotten my child taken away, I wouldn't be here today. I would probably have died. So I thank God every day that, you know, CPS stepped in and removed my son from my care. Am I happy it happened? Hell no, but it needed to happen. You know what I'm saying? And 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 I'm not shading anybody. Please don't take this as me being ugly or me saying things that are like, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. That's not my intentions here. But I think what happens is maybe we think we want to keep the loved one around because at least they're there, but they're not there. They're not able to be a parent. They're not able to be our partner. All they're doing is being high. They're not the same person that they are when they're sober. And if they don't want to go to rehab and get help, then you need to put their asses out on the street and let them live a week being homeless. I promise you, if you put their asses out, they'll either come back begging to go to treatment or they'll stay gone and they won't come back. And sometimes that is the price that we have to pay to protect our children. Hey, Nick, it's okay. Actually, Landon won. I texted him on Instagram and told him he won. Landon won and Avalon won. And so I have to get a hold of her opiate fix and tell him to send me a prize so I can, or he can send it out to Landon. But I just love her opiate fix, and he has such awesome, like, he sent Jason a leather wallet, and it was so fucking nice, like real nice. If you guys don't know this, Leonard, aka Her Opiate Fix, has his own store. If you go to the description box of his videos, hey David, what's up, baby? If you go to the description box of his videos, underneath his video, it says where his store link is. Click that link and it'll take you to all his leather goods. He is so talented. But I just want you guys to know, like, keeping somebody that's in an active addiction around your kids is not good. Okay? He's been doing good. I talked to him yesterday, actually, on the phone. He put up a video yesterday. So, yeah, he put up a video yesterday or the day before, I think. Hey, Great Dane. And, okay, so I know that there are extenuating circumstances, you guys. Like, maybe you're waiting for your loved one. Maybe there's a bed opening up for treatment, right? And that loved one is just staying with you until they can get into treatment. If that's the case, you know, that's amazing. I hope they get into treatment ASAP. But just from my experience going through Child Protective Services and having my son put into foster care, just from that experience alone, I wouldn't wish it on my worst, most hated enemy. Do you hear me? I wouldn't want anyone's child to go to Child Protective Services because it's nowhere you want to be, you guys. Going into some stranger's house that you don't know. My son, they didn't have anywhere for him to go. So the first 3 weeks he was in care, he had to stay in a respite home with a whole bunch of other kids. And he came out and he had hand, foot, and mouth disease, which is like this rash and stuff all over his body. A lot of kids get it when they're around other kids when they're young like that. But if you can help it and you can protect your children, that's what we're here to do. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about that, and I wanted to let you guys know, like, take the children out of the equation. Let's say you're sober and your girlfriend is getting fucked up, or you're sober and your boyfriend is getting fucked up. You're not doing them any good by just allowing them to stay fucked up around you. And what you're doing is you're setting the tone that this is something that you will accept. And so what you have to do is you have to put your foot down and say, you know what? I'm not going to accept this behavior. I'm not going to allow you to come around me high. If you come around me high one more time, you're out of here. Okay? And once they do it, you get them out. Don't go back on your word. One thing my mom did, and she stuck to it to a T. When she kicked my ass out, I was out. And she wouldn't let me come back. There was times where I'd show up and want to stay there, and they wouldn't let me stay. Okay? I would cry and cry. I didn't have nowhere to go. Shit. I had to go sleep on somebody's couch or outside. That sucks. It's cold outside. Stand and set your boundary. Do not let your addicted loved one manipulate you, because that's what they're going to do. All right? They want to be in a warm house where they don't have any rules and they can do whatever they want. All right? If you're allowing that person to come in and out as they please, then guess what you're doing? You're basically saying, it's okay that you're getting high. I support it. You're co-signing their negative behavior by allowing them to come in and out, and do as they please. Now, for anyone that's in active addiction and your parents are allowing you to live there, your parents, you're getting over on them, and you know it. They need to kick your ass out. If you're over the age of 18 and you're in active addiction and you're living with your family, they are getting played. And they need to stand up to you and get you up out of their business, and you need to go and get help. Oh, that's awesome, David. Hey, Aaron. And I'm telling you guys, like, for the longest time, I could hustle and manipulate it my way into so many people's houses until I couldn't, until I had done burned every bridge. Thank God for accountability, or I wouldn't be sober today. Pumpkin seeds. Hey, Bella. Do not be a fool. Do not allow someone who's getting high to be living in your house unless you want to have stuff get shown up missing, unless you want to have all your money stole out of your wallet, unless you want to have your wedding rings pawned, unless you want to have syringe caps laying around everywhere. Oh, I don't steal when I'm high. I'm not that kind of drug addict. Give it some time. Give it some time. You will be stealing. Hey, what's up, girl? I'm telling you guys, like, I'm letting you guys know, like, I said the same things. I wasn't going to steal from my parents either, and guess what? I took their credit cards, ran up $200 at the bar, bought all my friends drinks. My dad don't play, though. He found out I did that, and he made me pay him back right away. I have good and bad news. I was in the hospital since Sunday surgery and had to take all kinds of narcotics. However, I'm home and back on my buprenorphine with no issues. That's great, Aaron. I'm glad you got converted back over, so you're safe. Thank you, Great Dane. Oh, Lord, let's talk about this. So Crystal says, my parents are letting my brother live in their building beside their house. I cannot believe it. Crystal. Oh, and he's on meth? Oh, just give it time, girl. You tell your parents to come over here to Real Talk Recovery so I could talk some sense into them. I love that, Lab Girl. I love that. You're stealing one way or another, like taking time away from your kids or husband. Exactly. You're not being present. Hey, Tracy, if you're on drugs and your kids are around, there's no way you're able to interact with them and be present, you guys. Oh, hell yeah. Aaron says, yes, I didn't bring home any scripts for pain pills. Fuck yeah, Aaron, that's what's up. Good job. I'm so proud of you. That's so good, girl. So I used to say, let me tell you guys the excuse I always used, okay? I always said, and this is one of the things that I said when I walked into treatment for the last time. The last time I went into treatment, Child Protective Services came to that front door right there. All right, let me show you the front door. Is my head in the way? Yeah, that front door right there. They came over here. They walked in. They sat on that couch right over there. And they made me and my husband take a drug screen. We both failed. All right. That day, they said, it's okay. We're going to let your son stay here and we'll put in an order of protection. You're going to have to do some parenting classes, yada, yada, yada. So I thought I had escaped unscathed. I was like, yes, my son gets to stay with me. And then they came back the next day and they took him. Okay? They came back the next day and they took him. Or they came back the next day and they made me pack a bag. They had me pack a bag, you guys, and pack a bag for my son, of my son's belongings. Okay? Hey, Chris, what's up, baby? I'm going to get a little emotional, and I cannot help it, okay? I cannot help it, so please understand that. They had me pack a bag for my son. I was crying so hard, I couldn't even pack the bag. I was trying to put stuff into it, and I was forgetting things, and I was putting more stuff into it. They let me and my mother and me and my father-in-law and mother-in-law and my son drive down to the Child Protective Services office. And I brought my son in his little car seat and gave him to this lady that I didn't even know her name. And I left. And that's when I went into treatment. I went into treatment at a detox place in Southwest Little Rock, where they sell the best crack, the best heroin, all kinds of drugs, right? I was right down the street from all the drugs, but I went into that detox, you guys, and I didn't leave until there was a bed open for me at the treatment center. I was supposed to get out on a Sunday night, and I was like, I cannot get out on a Sunday night and stay sober. I have to stay here. Please don't make me leave. Please don't make me leave. Because I knew if I got out on that Sunday, I would walk straight down to the dope man's house and I would get fucked up. Because like I said, when I was in my active addiction, you guys, it wasn't nothing for me to go hang out with a drug dealer and fuck him for some drugs. You know, like, I didn't care back then. If I didn't have money, I used other ways and means to get drugs. If I couldn't, hook up with a guy that was actually into me and selling drugs, then I would go out and steal stuff to pawn for it. Or I would I would just do whatever I had to do. So I knew that if I got out on that Sunday, that I was going to get high. And so they let me stay one more day. And I stayed that one more day. And then my father-in-law picked me up and transported me into the treatment center. Literally took me and dropped me there, dropped me off there. But Child Protective Services, they will come and they will rearrange your whole life. And it is to help get you back on track, but a lot of it is not helpful at all. And it's very, very, it's difficult to go through that situation. And it's hard because they don't care about you like your family does. They want you to either get sober or they're taking your kids. And a lot of times they make it harder on the person than what it really should be, especially if you're somebody who's on maintenance. They're going to give you the runaround. For me, they tried to take Nate from me because I was on Suboxone. They tried to keep him from me because I was on maintenance medication and tried to make it like, hey, you can't get him back until you're off that. If I had gotten off, I wouldn't have stayed sober. Something would have happened. I would have relapsed and I would have lost my kid. But, damn, man, it was just like, it's so serious. That's just, what was I trying to tell you guys about the Child Protective Services? There was a whole rant on why I was telling you about Nate getting taken from me, and now I totally lost it. When you are an addict, being present. Okay, so when I got into treatment, I had to go to group right away. They were like, "Girl, you ain't get your butt into the group meeting," because I walked in there and I was bawling. You guys know how emotional I am. I am hella fucking emotional. Even when I was getting high, I was emotional. Like, I'm always emotional. That's just a trait. That's just me. I walked in, they were like, I wanted to go lay down and just be in my room and be alone. But they were like, no, you have to go to group. So I walked into group the first time I've ever seen anybody in this treatment center. All right. There's 3 regular chairs right here on the side. There's a couch in front of me and a couch on the other side, and it's all in a circle. So there's like 25 people in treatment, men and women. Okay. And the therapist, I'll never forget this lady. Her name was Rita, Miss Rita. Miss Rita was sitting over there with her glasses down on the edge of her nose. And I walked in emotional as hell, crying. Oh, I lost my son, crying. A whole theatric, okay? Now listen, I wasn't putting on a show. I was fucking tripping because I just gave my son over to Child Protective Services. But I walked in and that immediately took all the focus off of whoever was sharing in that group and put it on me. And so everybody turned and looked at me. And then Miss Rita looked at me and she said, "Go sit down, drama queen. Go sit down, drama queen. You are a bad mother. You didn't care about your son, and that's why you're here." I was pissed. Pissed. This bitch done told me that I was a bad mom. And I would always rationalize and justify in my mind about how I was a good mom. How can you be a good mom while you're shooting meth in your neck in the bathroom? How can you be a good mom while you're popping Xannies and nodding out? How can you be a good mom when you're tearing your whole house apart, pilfering it because you think that there is microphones hidden all over the house? How can you be a good mom, right? Well, I wasn't ready to hear that, okay? I was not ready to hear that. I wasn't ready to be told about myself at all. I was pissed off, y'all, and I was offended. I was pissed, and I was like, how could she say that? She doesn't even know me. But you know what? She didn't have to know me because she knew people just like me, and she had been working with people just like me for years and years and years and years. And it's the same song and dance every time. I'm a good mom. I do take care of my son. I do this. Y'all, I'm not trying to be funny and I'm not trying to make anybody upset. Listen to me, okay? I'm talking about me. I'm talking about me. I know because I gave those same excuses for so many years. And that's why Miss Rita knew when she was talking about me. Well, that's why she knew, because she had heard that same comment from so many other addicts so many other times. All right. I thought that. That's how distorted my perception was. That's how distorted my reality was. I thought that I was a good mom. I really believed that in my heart. But once I learned about my disease and about how when you're getting high on drugs and alcohol, you guys, there's no way that you can be present with your children. And if you're, like I said before, if you're sober and you're living in a home where there's another person who's getting high, your job as a sober parent is to protect those babies. Take them out of that situation. They don't have to see their mom looking like that. so they don't have to see their dad looking like that. Do you know what I'm saying? I'll tell you one more story. 2 years after me and Neil got sober, 2 years after me and my husband got sober, he relapsed. It was my biggest fear. It was my biggest fear. Okay, the biggest fear I ever had was that my husband would relapse. And it had came true. It came true. And I knew he had before he even came home. I had called him on the phone and I could tell just by the tone in his voice. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? For those of you that have families that are in active addiction, you can hear it in their voice. Okay? And I could hear it in his voice that he was under the influence. So, hey Miriam. So when he came to the door, before my son could even see him, I think Nathaniel was in bed because it was after 10. I made him leave because that's my job as a mother, to protect my son. That was the hardest thing I ever had to do. I called his mom and I told her, you better get your son. He needs to be with you. He can't be here. I don't want my baby to see his dad like that. And that, you guys, I had been in enabling relationships. I have been in codependent relationships all my life. But one thing I knew for certain is that I have to protect my son. I never want my son to have to see what we went through before we got him back, okay? And I never want him to look at his dad and think of him in a way like, my dad's no good, or my dad's just an addict. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never want him to see his dad like that. Thank God, my son never, like, my husband got right back on track. I think he stayed out for like 2 days at his mom's house, acting like a fool. But the whole reason why I'm telling you guys the story is because that was the hardest thing for me to do, was to tell him he couldn't stay at the house that night. Do you know what I'm saying? It was the hardest thing I had to do, to just hold him accountable. And if it was up to me, that would have never happened and we would have never had to deal with it, Hold on, I'll put my email right here. It's just so difficult, you guys. Like, I understand, like, if you love someone who's in active addiction, but you have to stand up and you have to protect your babies and make sure that your children are protected, don't make the same mistakes that you see other people making and that actually are doing well, and then their significant others relapse and then they relapse. Okay, that was another thing that I was so afraid of. I was so afraid that, oh, let me put this up. Daniel. Hey, Daniel. Oh man, I've had to deal with some heart-wrenching stuff in regards to my children and my ex-wife. Till this day, nothing has been harder than continually making decisions I have in regards to that. And that's what Daniel, I'm so glad that you're coming on tomorrow, because I know there's so many people that are going through this right now that need to hear your story. We have to protect our children. Like I said, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Like, I thank God every single day that Neil got his life together and that he didn't stay on that train. He could have very well chose to keep getting high and never came back, Hey, Hannah. Hey, Woken SoCal. Hey, Marijuana Maintenance. What's up, baby? I subscribe to your channel, MM. I just want you guys to know, like, it's just so hard. It really is difficult, and it'll be the hardest thing you ever did was stand up to your loved one and tell them, like, I cannot let you affect our family like this anymore. Because that's what happens. That's what happens whenever you have someone that's in active addiction, that's continually coming into your house, that's continually being around your children. They're affecting your children in a negative way. They are, it's just, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. So, anyway, just know that if you're struggling out there, you guys, I'm sorry. I get very emotional about this because I realize that things could have went very different for me. I realized that I could have went and I could have not gotten sober, and my son could be in foster care and living with a whole new family and not even remember who I am. I'm so grateful that didn't happen. I'm so grateful to be a sober person today. I'm so grateful to be able to share with you guys about what works for me. And I'm so grateful to be able to come on here and share with you guys how to be strong. If you are struggling and someone is getting high around you, you can come and lean on us. You can come here and be with us, and we'll help you be strong. It will hurt at first. It's like taking off a Band-Aid, right? When you have someone you're enabling them, and you've been enabling them for many years, because that's what it is. When we allow people to live in our homes that are getting high, come around our children that are getting high, work at jobs with us. Maybe you're a boss of somebody that's still getting high. Maybe you're a teacher or a professor to somebody that's still getting high. Maybe you're a doctor and you have someone that's constantly coming in your office seeking drugs. Unless we hold that person accountable, they're going to continue to do it, because that's how us addicts are. You give us an inch, baby, and we're going to take 20 miles. We're going to take it to the next level. And thanks, Lab Girl. I really appreciate that. I love being able to highlight you guys' comments. But it's so hard to not enable a person, because enabling is the easy way to go. Okay, let me share something with you guys. Giving an addict money, allowing them to live in your house, allowing them to work a job where you know they're getting loaded, allowing them to drive your car when you know they're getting dope, allowing them to sleep outside of your house or in the building next door or on top of the roof. Guess what? That's the easy thing to do. That's how people who have no idea, that's how we do it. We throw money at them. Here's a place to stay. Just get out of the way. I don't want to have any problems, right? Let's not address the core issue, which is the addiction, and whatever is underlying that. Could have been trauma, could have been depression, could have been, some kind of pain, all kinds of things, right? But the easy thing to do is to enable the person. Okay, that's the easy thing. Let me just enable this person, and that will just keep it quiet, and then I don't have to worry about it, right? But it's going to keep haunting you. So instead of enabling the person and making it easier for them to get high, you're going to have to do the hardest thing you've ever done, which is pull up and say, I'm not letting you stay here anymore. I'm not giving you money. I'm not feeding you. I'm not housing you. I'm not supporting you. I'm not paying you. I'm not going to prescribe you. I'm not going to teach you. Whatever it is, there's addicts in every area of everybody's life, okay? If we're keeping on and we're allowing them, then we're part of the problem. Then I'm the problem. If I'm giving you money and you're still getting fucked up, I am aiding and abetting in your death. You might as well charge me with murder, because I am helping you, right? I am helping you. I didn't realize that, I didn't realize that for a long time, because of the guilt, because of the shame that I felt. I felt like, I have had to learn a lot from having a YouTube channel and working with people who are struggling with active addiction. Let me just tell you guys that. If it was up to me, I would put everybody in treatment. Everybody would be somewhere, and but a lot of people, they're not ready when they call. They're not ready. All they want to do is know that they have somebody there they can call, and that way they're on backup in case they need something. I'm not dealing with, if you're not ready, text me when you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is serious. And I'm not going to just allow people to come up in my house and live here and be high and be mooching off of me. Do you know what I'm saying? Because that's what it is, you guys. I'm telling you, I did it for so many years. That's the only reason why I'm saying it. It's because I was the same way. There were so many people that enabled me to stay getting high. Okay. I'll give you some examples. All right. So we're doing an hour live stream this morning. So welcome to the channel, everybody that's here. I'm glad you guys are here. Let's get real. Let's get real, because that's what we do over here on Real Talk Recovery. We get real. We go straight for the jugular. Okay. When I was getting high, I had many people who enabled me to still get high. And then I had people who started standing up to me and telling me, no, I'm not going to let you stay here. And that, my friends, was one of the hardest things for me to realize, because you know what? I had been so used to people giving me my way for so many years. And then I had drug dealers turning me away. No, Nicole, we're not selling to you anymore. We're not even fronting you, girl. Get the fuck off our property. But, my parents got real with me a long time ago, you guys. And that's why I was homeless living up here in Little Rock. Because my parents, they weren't going to have me back in Hot Springs. And then, this is how bad it got. My parents left the state. They fled to New York to get away from me and my damn sister in active addiction. Me and my sister Michelle were killing ourselves with methamphetamine, okay, every day. All right, I'll see you later, man. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you. And, if you don't have anybody that's enabling you, you are lucky, Bella. I'm telling you, because what it forces a person to do is it forces that person to reach rock bottom a little bit quicker, I feel like. My mom was so hard, and the reason why she was because, now listen, my dad is a softie, but he was going to have a heart attack because of my addiction. My dad was getting sick because I was hurting his heart so bad. My dad couldn't watch me doing what I was doing. My dad used to pick me up when I was staying in the halfway house. When I got out of prison in 2010, I was living in a halfway house here in Little Rock. And my parents wouldn't let me have my car because they wanted to make sure I was going to actually stay sober. And so they were picking me up, I think it was like for Thanksgiving or something, and I was coming back home to eat with them. And on the way home, my dad would always ask me, why can't you just quit? Is this the last time? Are you serious about it this time? Are you going to stay away from the drugs? Are you going to do what you have to do to stay sober? And he would plead with me and plead with me and plead with me, Oh, I'm telling you, man, they fled. They left to go to New York. And they lived in New York for the next 3 years. It was just the hardest thing because our family is so family oriented. My dad is Italian and my mom is Mexican, and we're just super, super tight, And so I can remember when my parents put me out and told me I wasn't allowed to live there anymore. Hey, Miriam, what's up, girl? I'm so glad you stopped by. I remember whenever they finally started holding me accountable, they really just couldn't handle it anymore. And that's why they had to do it, because y'all, I was struggling for so many years. And I was coming home to my family's house when they weren't there. Before they kicked me out for good, I had a key and I was still kind of allowed to come in and out. And I had started shooting up. And so I was coming into my parents' house and stealing my dad's allergy needles, because he would have a bag of like 50 syringes because he had to take allergy shots. And I would go into their house and I would shoot up in the bathroom. And then I would get so high from shooting up in the bathroom, I would leave behind baggies for the cap to the syringe. And my nephew was only like 3 years old. So my nephew would come in and find that stuff, and then my mom would call me and tell me, I just found your shit in the bathroom, Nicole. What are you doing? What if Nicholas had gotten it? My nephew is 16 years old now, you guys. He's seen me in my active addiction. He's seen me at my worst. Okay? He's seen me through all of it. He loves me and he forgives me, but he talks to me like he is my parent. He doesn't look up to me. He doesn't think of me as his amazing aunt. He thinks of me as a junkie. I know he does, because he's seen me in that. He's seen me like that. He has seen me jump into dumpsters to fish out old syringes. And my sister is pulling my foot, trying to pull me out of the dumpster. And it's funny because it's like I can see myself with my feet in the air in this huge green dumpster, because my sister had found all my rigs and threw them away. And my nephew is standing in the doorway watching me in the dumpster. And I know he remembers these things. My son, my nephew he's so smart. My nephew he's on the spectrum, and he has Asperger's, which is high functioning autism, basically. And he's a genius. He's a genius. I know that he remembers that. I know he remembers when I was doing those things, And I do forgive myself, But I get very emotional when I share these stories, and I share these stories with you because I know a lot of you guys have been through the same thing. Okay, I know you have. Exactly, Robert. Like when I was born and I was in like what, 7th or 8th grade, there was this boy who sat behind me. What's up, Merk? Merk, are you Matt? Is that Matt? There was this guy who sat behind me when I was like in 5th, 6th, 7th grade. I can't remember what grade it is. His name was Nick. And we had the same last names. Our last names started with D's, okay? And we always said that when we got older, we were going to start a whole fucking law firm called ND and ND Law Firm. That was my goal. I wanted to be a lawyer. Okay, hey Mark. I wanted to be a lawyer, I wanted to fight cases and help people that were going to prison unjustly, I never in a million years, you guys, thought, you know what? I'm going to be digging in the dumpster to find my old syringes. I'm going to be shooting up in places I didn't even know there was a vein there. Okay? I never thought that. And I know for a fact that none of you thought that either. I know you didn't. I know you didn't say, I want to be a drug addict when I grow up. None of us want to be drug addicts when we grow up. You know what I'm saying? I almost feel like circumstances just happen to line up in this way. A lot of us come from families of addicts. A lot of us have addiction in our genetics, right? We won't, please nobody reveal my online alias. We won't. You're safe here, baby. You're safe here. Hey, Leroy. Oh, lab girl. Let me just tell y'all, I didn't even go to prison for a long time. I was only locked up for a year. That's it. That's not a long time. Okay? Not a long time in the regards to what some of these other guys go, girls and guys go to prison for. All right? But I'm just telling you right now, getting locked up, you would think that was you would think that would be the thing that decided me to not ever go back, right? That's awesome, Daniel. Really? That's crazy. See how much in common we all have. Um, and don't get me wrong about Nick. My nephew loves me. I mean, I just drove him home the other night because we were all at a party at my sister's house for her birthday. And me and my husband drove him home, and we had the best conversation on the way home. He's at that age where he's 16. He's learning to drive, or he passed his driver's permit. But he's also has friends that are like starting to say, do you want to smoke the ganja? Do you want to trip mushrooms with us? And so I feel like as his auntie who has been through it, that I have to say, no, 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 no. This is what you need to do. And I try to help him to realize, like, you don't want to go down the same route that Auntie Nicole went down, Okay. So, but he's a good kid, Okay, so we're taking questions now. Good job, Bella. Bella says, Nicole, was prison very scary? Wasn't violent? Okay, so the prison that I went into is a non-violent offender prison. Let me explain to you. It's a first-timers prison. A lot of first-timers go there, people that have never been to prison before. The way the prison is set up, it's in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. You can look it up. It is a boot camp style prison, like a military kind of style. When you go in, you like you have to march everywhere you go. It's very structured. And the whole reason why it's structured like that is because they're trying to help you to go back to like not doing drugs, not stealing. And so they're trying to do, what is it called? It's a form of cognitive behavioral therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy is what this whole program is based around. Because it's a program within a prison. All right. Now I'll tell you where it got nasty. County jail is where it is nasty for me. In the county I was locked up in, is you get a bunch of girls who all know each other from the streets, right? A bunch of addicts, a bunch of, thieves and people who have, committed like major crimes all in one place in county jail. And so in county jail, I have seen on numerous occasions I was locked up, I think, for 60 something days in county jail before I went into prison, because they keep you in county and then they ship you to prison in a cop car. I remember I got to smoke my last cigarette in the back of the cop car, y'all. I was so happy. I hadn't had a cigarette in 60 days. But I saw a girl so these two black girls were fighting with this other black girl, and they wanted to fight this black girl. So what they did was they got her in the cell with them, right? One girl went into the cell and the other girl went in there, and then the two girls shut the door behind her and held the door shut while they beat the dog crap out of each other. I'm 12 years off dope. Why do I feel like I still hate myself? Man, I know what you mean. You know what? I don't think it's, why do you feel like you hate yourself? I'm going to tell you something right now, Merk. This has really helped me, all right? I don't hate myself at all, but I'm going to tell you why you might still hate yourself. I've forgiven myself, but it has taken a lot of work. It has taken me admitting and accepting responsibility for a lot of the actions that I took when I was in active addiction. That I'm not proud of any of those things. And when I tell you guys these stories, It's not to brag. It's not to boast. It's not to gloat. It's to tell you the real shit, really what happened. Yeah. In, or where our shower is at. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or you can go, Nate, right here. It's okay. Go ahead. Okay, okay. Um, sorry. It takes a lot of time to. So tell me this. Save my life and freedom. Yes, good. So Merc, do you do anything to like work towards loving yourself now? And I know this might be hard for a lot of men, okay? So this is different. But for women like me, I have learned that, girl, it does help me. It's therapy. I'm literally having a therapy session right now with you guys. I'm so serious. Um, but I've worked towards healing. I've worked towards loving myself and forgiving myself. Hold on, guys. The boy's calling me. I'm coming. Okay. Love you. Okay. It takes a lot of work, you guys, to learn to love yourself. Okay. When I first got sober, I was like, and I still have. Let me be honest. Okay. I still have a lot of guilt inside of me. Okay. I still have a lot of shame. When I came to believe a living creator forgave me, I was able to feel self-worth. And I think that's what and it's different for everybody. If you don't believe in God, you don't have, like, okay, so I believe in God. Okay. I believe that God has forgiven me. Now, if you don't believe in God, you have to find your own conception of that idea. What's up, Danny boy? And you have to find a way to tap into a power greater than you and forgive yourself. All right. And learn to love yourself. There's ways to start working towards loving yourself. Okay, Mark? When you wake up in the morning, I want you to start looking at yourself in the mirror and being like, I'm a miracle. I've been off dope for 12 years. I am a miracle. Hold on, I got you.
I want to make my path.
It's a hard work and dedication, but if you get to it and you start self-talk, positive self-talk is so important, you guys. I lost my got it. Here you go, baby. I got it. I felt that same way, Bella, for a long time and you can do it, Mark. Like, seriously, just work hard on changing the way you talk in your inner dialogue, okay? Now, so many people talk about this. You can find so many um inspirational people here on YouTube that just share like the way they have changed the way they think. Just type it into the search bar, changing the way we think, and it'll bring up all kinds of videos. But let me tell you about how I did. So the first way I changed how I thought was I got off drugs, okay? Now, getting off of drugs doesn't change anything because I was still sick AF up here, right? I still thought about drugs. I still thought about hustling. I still thought about all these illegal things that I did while I was in my active addiction, right? I would think about those things all the time. And so when I got off drugs and alcohol, I started having to change the way I looked at everything. And they talk about that, like, and this is why this is why I tell you guys, like, if you haven't tried reading out of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous and doing the 12 steps, just fucking read the book. You'll learn so much. But what I started doing was I started rethinking about the way I looked at life as a whole, about the way I used to see, okay, let me break it down for you. I used to walk into a store, a Walmart, a Dillard's, a Kroger, and instead of thinking, oh, I'm going to go shop and pay for my things, the first thing that would come into my mind when I would walk into the store, I would see opportunity. I would see stuff I could steal everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm saying? Here's another example. When I used to go around people that were getting high, or I would go into places where there was drugs, I would think, how can I get some of these drugs? How can I get some for free? What do I need to do? How can I hustle these folks? When I had friends, it wasn't about our friendships and the relationship and us loving and caring for each other. It was about what I could get out of that person, how quickly and how fast, right? Yes, you do, Robert, you do. And Daniel's taking us to the gym with us. I love you, Daniel. You're so awesome. Yeah, it's like my mind was just, I couldn't get away from these thoughts. They were intrusive thoughts, right? But I'm going to tell you what it is, you guys. It's because we practiced doing those things for so many years. So it became second nature. So what I realized when I got off drugs is that I had to start practicing these new ways of living. I had to start practicing gratitude and being thankful for the things I have, right? When I was in active addiction, you would have never caught me being like, I am so grateful for this dope. Thank you, Jesus. No, you wouldn't, because I just took it for what it was. As fast as I got it, it was quickly gone. On to the next one, right? Today, I sit, like right now, I am literally marinating in this conversation with you guys because I'm so grateful that I have you guys to come on here and talk to. Like, this is everything. I love this. And that's not how it was for me in active addiction. In active addiction, I was just one thing after another. So, learning gratitude, looking at the little things, the trees, the sun, the sky, the grass, my car. Do you know the last time I had a brand new car was? Yes. Y'all want to know when the last time I had a brand new car was? I'll wait. 2000, the year 2000. That's the last time I had a brand new car. That's 20 years ago. I have me a new car. I mean, not a new car. It's not a 2019. It's a 2016. But that's brand new to me. That's a nice ass ride, right? And I am so freaking grateful for that shit. I wanted to go out there and spit shine it. You know what I mean? And I never thought that way before. I just thought about how quickly things came, and like I said, I didn't have any focus or thought process on anything. And I'm telling you guys, if you've gotten sober and you're getting off drugs, if you can just start changing the way you look at life, just having a little bit of gratitude. And you know what? That's where it starts. Just a little things. It'll change your life. And I used to think that was so. I honestly want you guys to understand. Like, I didn't believe any of these things. All right, I didn't believe that I could get sober and have a good life. I didn't think I would ever be able to stop. Hey, Whitney, I didn't think I would ever be able to stop getting high. And when people would share about how they got sober and their life changed, I could never put myself in their shoes because it seemed so far away. It seemed unobtainable. today, that's not what it is. Today, I know that it's obtainable. And that's why I come here to share with you guys, because I want you all to know that you can obtain sobriety, you can change your life, you can learn to love yourself, you can learn to be happy, you can change the way you think, right? Hey, Marcus. I know, Daniel, me too. 2000 was when I graduated, you guys. That's the year I graduated. I got a new car right after I graduated. Hey, Alyssa. Oh, thanks, girl. I really appreciate that. But we're on the same level, girl. You ain't got to look up to me. We're right here. We're one-on-one. You hear me? We are the same, okay? I am just like you guys. And you got to understand that, all right? What I have going on here, you can have it too. You can have everything I have, and you can probably get more, because I bet you $500 you're a go-getter, okay? I feel like I've gotten rusty. I feel like I've gotten old. I feel like I'm 37 and I might as well say 67, because I just feel like life has passed me by. You know what I mean? But I'm telling you right now, I know what it feels like to think you'll never get there. And it was really the way I felt for so long. It wasn't until my son was born that I was inspired enough to make a change. It wasn't until my son was taken from me that the pain outweighed the pleasure of getting high. That's what it was. The pain outweighed the pleasure of getting high. The pain of losing my son. Love you, Woke. The pain of losing my son overrode the pleasure I received from getting loaded. And that was the catalyst that pushed me into sobriety, that kicked my ass into making a change. And I pray every day that if you're struggling in active addiction, that something will happen, that the pain outweighs the pleasure, because that's what it takes. It takes some damn shit going down. And you know what? If you can get sober without having some shit go down, I am, like I said, my hat is off to you, because I got my ass handed to me so many times. And it wasn't until my heart was ripped out of my chest and my basically newborn son, not even a year old, was removed from my care that I woke up and I got sober. You guys, the disease of addiction, it is so strong. It will tell you that you don't have a problem. It'll tell you that everything is fine. The lies my addiction would tell me, the manipulation in my own mind, you're fighting against yourself. You're fighting against yourself. That's what it is. The addiction is inside of you, you know, and that it's two different sides. That's what happens. There's the side of you that knows that getting high is fucked up. It knows you need to sober up. It knows that you're doing wrong and your mama's worried about you. It knows that your kids are in harm's way. And then there's this side that's just calling and saying, just one more. It's really not that bad. You know, tomorrow we'll get sober. You know, there might not be a tomorrow. And that's what, there will not be a tomorrow one day. And one day, all the people that have been cheering for you, all the people that have wanted you to get sober, they're going to be crying at your funeral. How long were you addicted? From the time I was, so I started getting high at 17. I was a full-blown drug addict by the time I was 18 and a half, 19 years old. And I got sober in 2015 at the age of 33 years old. So from the, you got it. I'm always praying. And I got you on a list along with Michael too, because Michael came in yesterday and said that he relapsed. So y'all pray for Michael. So 17 to 33. So however long that is, half my damn life. And I'm telling you guys, like, I've done everything there is to get drugs. All right. I sold myself. I didn't have a corner, but this was the kind of things I did. If I had a drug dealer that I knew, he was attractive, he liked me. I mean, shit, even if he was ugly, and I could use my body to get drugs from him, I would do that. Do you know what I'm saying? A lot of girls do that. And steal, lie, cheat, manipulate, all kinds of things. And like today, I don't do any of those things. And that's a miracle. Today I would rather be helping people and encouraging people than to be hurting them. And that for me is a miracle in itself. So I could stay on here all day long talking with you guys, but I just wanted to come on here. Really, I was watching a video earlier and it was pulling at my heart. There's a guy who has a channel. He's new in the recovery community, and his channel is called Brian's Redemption. And one of my subscribers had told me to go over and check out his channel. And I was checking out his channel, and his wife is still in active addiction. And it prompted me to talk about this, because I know, and Brian, if you watch this video, I understand that you're struggling, and I know that you're probably really hurting. But the best thing you can ever do is to remove her from your life until she's willing to make the changes, because you got to protect your babies, But anyway, I love you guys. I hope you guys have a great Sunday. Tonight at 7, Nick from Hopeless to Hopeful is coming on, and we're going to talk all about our past relapses and why we relapsed, what we learned from our relapses, and why we're not going back to relapsing today. So that's going to be me and Nick tonight at 7. So I hope you guys will tune in, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I love you guys, and I hope you have a great day. Oh, you got it, San Diego. Anytime, you guys. I love coming on here and talking to you guys. It's not even a big deal. It's not even like a chore to me. It's like I enjoy this. This literally helps me stay sober. So I get to help you guys and share with you guys, and then I also get to help myself. So if you really think about it, I'm just selfish. You guys help me so much. So thank you so much, and I love y'all, and I'll see you guys tonight at 7 with Nick, okay? All right.